right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of the broadcast here. Breaky CBK, joined by Tsunami once again, and we are here to our semi-final matchup now. A little bit of lobby issues there, but we are back and ready to go. Prodota GaminG taking on Slice and Dice here in what is now a best of three. That is right, the Kiev Major Open Qualifiers, best of three coming at you. Game number one. So looking forward to this one. Obviously, we're coming off watching Slice and Dice take out the Horde. One of the favorites here of the Open Qualifiers, and doing it about a 70-minute game or so. It's a pretty epic one, but definitely deserving to be here, I think it's safe to say. So really looking forward to seeing how they do against now a team like Prodota GaminG once again. So Tsunami, welcome back though. Ready for a best of three here?
I suppose so. I hope that Slice and Dice is ready for a best of three because, well, actually, I'd feel hyped up after that game one, to be honest, because I know Prodota GaminG was watching it, so they may equip themselves. Oh, okay, never mind, because I was going to say Slice and Dice had some really good success with a early high aggression and being able to transition it into like a pretty mannered late game. Like, they didn't overplay their hand at any point. In fact, that one point when they got the Aegis and did nothing with it, that they were underplaying their hand, if anything. So it's a team that knows when to push the aggression and when to reel it back. So we'll see if Prodota is equipped to deal with them for a 3-game series.
Yeah, no, 100% with you there. And obviously, yeah, the Spirit Breaker pickup. There's the Invoker on top of that. So seeing some similarities. I think it's safe to say Prodota was watching that series. Obviously, we're pointing out, I mean, they were already in the semifinals ready to go when that match was even just starting. So no doubt watching it, and so they have an idea probably what to expect, but still letting those couple of picks go through. Of course, Earth Spirit and Slaughter are banned, so completely understandable coming out on the side of Prodota. But I have a little bit of extra insight for Prodota GaminG I want to really get into before we get too much into the cast here, and that's a couple of players over there. Insania and Mickey specifically. These are some former Han players I know very well, and definitely great ones. I'm not surprised to see them this deep here in an event like this, and hopefully, you know, definitely up-and-coming players that maybe are going to start making more and more of a name for themselves. So really excited to see how they do. Insania, a very aggressive support player, and Mickey is one of these kind of I'm gonna just say that. Well, I feel like one of these kind of prodigy-style players, these young prodigies. That's a mid player that has potential to be really good. I'm not saying he's going to be amazing here because, again, he's still fairly newer, but we'll see. We'll see in due time as long as if he dedicates to it. So that's kind of my quick praise on this team right here. I'll do my best not to be too biased here, though.
Well, you may have some data on Alucard as well. I saw some chat going on in the lobby that these players are at least familiar with one of the Slice and Dice players.
So what if that was actually Alucard from Han, then yes, but apparently he isn't the one that we thought he might have been, so I do not, unfortunately. But
all right.
Yeah. So, but we do for the previous game. He played a pretty good Terrorblade.
Yeah, exactly. After a 70-minute game, I think we have all the data we need to know that Slice and Dice are definitely capable and worthy of being in these semi-finals now.
This is it, semi-finals, yeah. Best of three. Again, this and then one more. This is single elimination. There's no second chances here for these two teams. So Dazzle coming out. So they got the Rubik, the Centaur, and now a Dazzle on top of that. But you know what? I was actually watching their previous game to get to this point before we started the casting. I'm pretty sure they had those same three heroes, if I'm not mistaken. So teams like to be similar from game to game with their lineups.
Yeah, but in this case, I consider the comfort heroes of Prodota to be probably more favorable than the comfort heroes of Slice and Dice, because in the previous series with Slice and Dice against Horde, I had mentioned how Witch Doctor was a smart choice by Horde, depending on where it was picked in the draft, but still a good hero at dealing with the tower dives that a Spear Breaker and the kind of repositioning that a Pudge on the enemy team can do. In this case, a Rubik and a Dazzle also provide similar utility, and obviously once Centaur hits 6, Stampede is just as good as any other spell for getting you out of gank situations. Yeah. So I'm liking Prodota's draft, either regardless of whether they watch the previous game or not. It's equipped for what Slice and Dice like to do.
You know, I actually had the chance to watch from the the North American region. Of course, Veggie Esports over there, the team of the casters in town and whatnot. And Blitz actually is playing from here at the BTS studio currently, at least for these open qualifiers, this first part. And, I was talking with him in between the games, and it's kind of interesting overhearing some conversations he was actually even having with his teammates about Centaur specifically and how he feels Ags on Centaur is probably one of the, if not the strongest Ags in the game that exists. So expect to see it here, perhaps. If
I can definitely agree with that. It's difficult because sometimes the Centaur feels it necessary to complete a pipe first, and then obviously you always want to have the Blink Dagger to help initiate. But Ags is probably one of the most core Ags besides like Tiny or something like that, because the utility it provides on such a low cooldown is incomparable.
Yeah. All right, TA going to be the fourth pick, for Prodota, so they got their mid option now taken care of. Plenty of damage to work with here. They figure it's going to be going up against an Invoker now. Picked up after the Skywrath Mage is picked up here, also for Slice and Dice, a very sound support option. Would be my guess here as far as what we're going to see from the Skywrath Mage. Well, why do you think they went Skywrath Mage?
Well, surprisingly, Slice and Dice banned out their own Pudge, which I find weird, but Skywrath Mage is not quite as... It's a different variety of roaming that a Skywrath provides compared to a Pudge, but both of them are really high damage. The thing with Skywrath is that he has a really high passive move speed, and so even though Spearbreaker has charge, Skywrath can kind of keep the pace, especially if he walks out of base with a Windlace or something like that. So it's not as popular as back in the day whenever Skywraths would just like blow their Arcane Bolt load at level 1 on the enemy mid, go kill themselves to neutrals, and then go to another lane and do it again. But the hero is still a very competent roamer and really good at making the enemy like regret the first minute of the laning phase and just have to burn through a ton of regen.
I'll see how what kind of potential even Skywrath does have here. Again, it seems like the early game really kind of like the previous series again against the Horde right there, where it seemed a little iffy at the beginning, but you know what? They made it work, and it definitely excelled them ultimately to a victory as far as their early game harassment and kills that they were making happen. So definitely going to be looking that for again. Axe with the fourth pick on top of it as well. And that's leaving them for their final pick. You see the ban on the Slark right there. I mean, could they go with Terrorblade again? I mean, they obviously won the last game and it worked out well.
I don't think Terrorblade would do too well against TA. Right now, TA is my biggest concern for Slice and Dice because none of their heroes are doing a particularly good job at burning through Refraction. I guess technically Mystic Flare has like a lot of damage instances, but that's not reliable at all. And Battle Hunger obviously can provide a lot of utility, but this is all assuming that this TA isn't getting the initiation first, because if this TA has a good laning phase, which against an Invoker, TAs usually win that matchup, it's going to be difficult to shut her down if she gets a good start, if her team is stacking Ancients for her, which also is something that's not as common ever since the jungle changes, but still just as viable as ever. So I think Slice and Dice needs to pick a carry that can specifically deal with the TA, and I don't think Terrorblade's the best option.
They ban out Troll Warlord on the side of Slice and Dice. Interesting there. It's kind of one of those picks that it does pop up every now and then. One of those, like, he will just wreck towers with his team as well. And I guess the potential definitely could have been there for Prodota, so... Troll Warlord ban it. Ooh,
yeah, okay, so the Troll Warlord ban, I think the main reason they were banning it out is because they're concerned about the blind from Whirling Axes. And I was like, really? You don't need to ban that out just for a Spirit Breaker. They probably want some other melee hero who likes to close the gap. And Chaos Knight is a hell of a gap closer between Reality Rift and Chaos Bolt. Not often seen in professional Dota. And whenever you do see it, it's not always guaranteed to be the carry. Most recently, at least in 7.02, it has been always as like a one position, but previously I had seen some success with roaming Chaos Knight, but it was infrequent at best, and so this is going to be a one position CK for sure, and it's a hero that can deal with TA fairly well, even though it is illusion heroes, so technically Psyblades can cut through all of the illusions. They're very tanky illusions, and each one counts as a damage instance on TA's refraction, so if you sucker in with a few illusions, you can immediately burn off a refraction pretty easily.
Oh, like a Wraith King final pick in response there. So both teams finishing what we figure is going to be their one position right here, and that's quite the finish. Chaos Knight into a Wraith King. That's not your typical run-of-the-mill here as far as some carry options go.
No, this is a manly draft.
Yeah.
This draft has brawn in it. You've got an axe, you've got a spear breaker, you got a CK on the wait, which team's which?
The Radiant side, I believe. Yeah.
Right. No, yeah, I always forget it's reverse.
Yeah, it is kind of weird.
Dire team, you got Wraith King, you got Centaur. These two teams are ready to duke it out early on, and Wraith King is not too bothered. Really, the only thing he's gonna have to be concerned about is Invoker's EMP. The mana draining, I doubt CK will go a Diffusal Blade. It's not very common. Although, this game, it's not a bad idea. In addition to being able to burn off Wraith King's mana, Diffusal Blade counts as its own damage instance. So each right click will have 2 damage instances, allowing you to burn off 2 refraction charges per right click. And that's true for all of your illusions.
So
but,
okay,
yeah, go ahead.
Well, on that note, real quick, so I think it goes without saying, you cannot purge off refraction, right?
No, it does not purge off refraction. And in terms of purging, there really isn't anything worth purging this game. But, you know, it's an item that can kite also if you just slow them.
Yeah.
But
okay, yeah, we'll see if that potentially comes out. As you're saying, maybe not the most routine item, but maybe the game calls for it. I mean, Diffusal Blade is one of those items that's not a very routine item in general. Again, it is more of a reaction item, if anything. So definitely wouldn't be out of the question here to perhaps see that coming along. But as far as the early build goes, isn't something like like an armlet probably on Chaos Knight, even a Helm of the Dominator, I guess potentially could see here.
yeah, both those items are good. Occasionally you see an early Blightstone pickup. It depends on how aggressive this CK wants to get early on, if he's going to be participating with his team in like these Spear Breaker gank attempts. I don't think it's going to be the same case as we saw in Game 1. At least I hope not, since S&D knows that Prodota were watching. I don't think they can go and send like the Skywrath and the Spear Breaker to go chill in the Radiant safe lane like we saw last game for like a minute and a half before they get a kill on the carry. But
Yeah.
I'm imagining this is going to be a more active Spirit Breaker than we saw in Game 1.
Now, we're in this pause here, but I'm making note of the players and who's playing what. Alucard's actually on the Invoker. Remember last game, Karate Kid was actually playing the Invoker
True.
for them, and now he's on the Axe. Alucard, who was the Terrorblade that game, he's on the Invoker here. And then Jafar, he was the Vengeful the previous game, a core Vengeful, but still he's playing the Chaos Knight. So they're swapping things up a little bit.
Yeah, it's surprising because you'll see like the carry and the mid often switch roles, but very rarely do you see the off lane and the mid switch roles. So that is a bit unconventional.
What if that's like a comfort thing? I mean, clearly Karate Kid knows what he's doing on Evoker. We saw that last game, but an Axe doesn't seem as crazy as like on the Evoker level. Like, oh,
you would be surprised, especially against a Dazzle. It's a fine art to be able to weave in and out and be able to get these culling blades off on graved targets.
All right. Well, there's a reconnect from Spirit Breaker. We're going to be good to go. So, yeah, another note on Prodota, by the way, as far as their roster's concerned. Not only Insanity's been on the roster for a little bit. He came from another team that used to play with Mickey. Mickey kind of dropped off for a little bit, but then he wanted to come back into the scene, and he ended up joining with the team a little more recently, but then Come With Me, also the most recent member as well. Very new player on the team, joining, I think, not even like 2 weeks ago. So this is kind of a somewhat newly formed full 5 roster team. But again, pretty excited to see them here in the semifinals of these open qualifiers of what is now the best of 3 against a team like Slice and Dice. And so this is kicking things off here, game number 1. Looking forward to it. The early vision going down, especially from the side of Prodota. Not so much from Slice and Dice, at least just yet. But yeah, Prodota making a very quick point to get that aggressive vision out here. Beginning of the game.
Yeah, this is another thing that we weren't really seeing in the beginning of Opens. You will always see this in competitive games. And the higher in MMR you go, you'll see it in pub games as well, where teams have doing this whole smoke in the fountain, immediately TP out of the lanes. And so this is just showing that we're playing for keeps now.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not the lobby with the automated system. It's not set up for a best of 3, so we don't have the tabs up here. But Again, so I'll do my best to kind of keep clarifying what exactly this is. So again, we are in game number 1 of a best of 3 here, guys. Obviously a score of 0-0, but so Wraith King though in the hands of Garter, the carry player for Prodota, looking to protect the bounty rune up top here. Definitely going to be some contention coming out 3 seconds before it spawns. The lockdown onto Wraith King, who picks it up. It was actually in, Come With Me on Ruby picks it up. But now they've got to worry about saving the Wraith King. The Sunstrike it is going to miss. Garter, can he actually run out of here? Meanwhile, Spearbreaker also getting low. Another stun coming out. No, down goes Wraith King first, though. Spearbreaker survives a little bit longer. He finally goes down, but so far a 1-for-1 exchange. But you know what? They got the first blood. As long as they don't lose any more, should still be very worth it. And I think that's going to be the case unless Garter can close the gap. Okay, well, going to go for Jafar now. Here on the Chaos Knight. Big heal right there from Insania, doing plenty of damage. And actually, Chaos Knight in trouble, so guess what? We got plenty of action.
Nice moves.
Kick things off here. He's actually going to escape, you're right. Wow. There's a heal salve. All right, so much. This is a boring game so far.
I'm actually very surprised that the Rubik opted to take Fate Bolt at level 1. Whenever you have 3 heroes clumped up like that, you are bound to get a telekinesis land, and that may have bought the Wraith King enough time to survive and not give up first blood, but he went for Fate Bolt, and he got the bounty rune, so not the biggest disaster, but yeah. This is a very, very mean tri-lane to go up against if you're the Radiant team right now.
Skyraz, Spearbreaker, Chaos Knight. Again, they ran the tri-lane last game with a somewhat really different lineup in there. Doing the same thing this time around, but yeah, you're right. They got plenty of lockdown. They got a lot of spam harassment with the Arcane Bolt of Skyrath, as you were stressing before the game even started right here. And he's level 2 already on top of that, so he's saving that second point, I guess. So it's the question of concussive shot or the ancient tail. Okay, there we go. He does get the concussive shot here to top it off for now. But yeah, if you're Prodota, I mean, how do you respond? Do you try to contest this as they're doing here? That's actually hold a thought because we are going to see the initiation on Insania coming out. He has Shallow Grave, by the way, so he is playing more of a defensive style right here. That could come into play as they are committing pretty deep. Skywrath Mage taking the return. There comes the nuke from Rubik. One Marauder tech from Garter. He can't get close enough, though. Beautiful stun onto him to prevent him from chasing, but now Spearbreaker, oh no, his charge is stopped.
Nice cancel.
And Come With Me picks up the bounty rune, and they secure the kill on top. Yeah, beautiful cancel on the charge, so. Oh, I guess that kind of answers my question. They can hold it. Skyrat did die as well. I didn't even notice that. Oh, to the neutrals, okay.
Yeah, he denied himself. They should have waited for level 2, because Spearbreaker, as we saw, did not have Greater Bash, and that's the reason why his charge got canceled. Like, normally, whenever you're charging in melee range of 3 heroes, they will all get bashed as you begin to rear your feet. But he doesn't have any points in Greater Bash, so the charge is literally just a gap closer, and that's it right now.
Got you. He's going to use it right here, but
doesn't touch any of the creeps on the way, and they're still going aggressive. I mean, they have. There's no way that this Wraith King is going to feel safe farming, so they should just let the CK get free farm. Don't worry too much if you get kills or not, because this Dazzle and the Rubik will have to stay up here no matter what. But they're going again.
Yeah, they're going to keep up the aggression. Or Spearbreaker going in. That's how that bash now is talking about. Come With Me gets pulled in with the Reality Rift right there, but out comes the Shallow Grave, and out to cost for Jafar on that Chaos Knight. He wants to chase down the concussive shot coming out. Not going to be enough to take out Come With Me in the background. And however, Chaos Knight does survive himself, so the back and forth is real. You do see Dazzle, not enough mana for anything further of assistance other than the auto attacks.
Oh, the concussive? The Sunstrike?
Sunstrike, it's going to let us spread the damage. You're right. It's split between the two, and that saves Rubik. I think that's Insania heads up, too. You know, standing next to him, perhaps expecting that. And they were right. So, but this action at the top lane, Slice and Dice does not want to give it up.
Yeah, this is Slice and Dice's bread and butter. Let's go again.
Wraith King, stun locked up, gets the bash proc, 17% coming through. And down goes Wraith King. So it's just a matter of time before that happens, it feels like.
You know what it is? The stick count is in favor of the Radiant team right now. Yeah. You know, they've got 3 sticks on all these tri-lane heroes. Dazzle didn't have a stick, went for Boots first. Boots? Come on, son. What are Boots gonna do for you?
He does have history of being a much more aggressive support player again. So he likes the idea of the movement right here, I guess.
Yeah, that must really hurt him that he couldn't get any points in Poison Touch, to be honest.
Yeah. No, I agree there. Yeah, it does seem like the Boots first, though. I definitely agree with that. It seems like it's maybe not having the most efficient use. I mean, positioning sure can help, but yeah, those sticks, you are right. Having it across the board, no doubt benefiting Slice and Dice when it comes to this tri-lane. But look at the wraparound from Rubik. They're tired of dealing with the top lane for the time being. He's going to wrap around with a smoke right here. maybe try to set up an Invoker mid, but unless he's pushed out, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, but TA should do a pretty good job. She's about to hit level 6 and one more creep, so they'll probably wait for that so that she can get a trap. Come with me, puts up a ward, and now they're gonna go.
There we go. The trap comes out. Now the card lifted in the air, thrown right back into the Templar Assassin, of course. Murado attacks. Yes, it is going to be enough. Rubik, credit for the kill. So good execution right there. Exactly. Being patient enough. However, at the top lane, Wraith King Shallow Grave gets it off at the last second. Stampede actually activated as well. That's why they're running so fast. He's level 6 right now. And actually, Spear Breaker is going to end up falling. God, took a while. Finally goes down, though. Can he maybe save Rubik? No, he cannot. Dazzle, not enough mana again for another heal. And they do get the turn kill at least. But a 1-for-1. Yeah, big save on a Wraith King there, though. Keep him alive.
Yeah, he's going to TP back to base. It's a Slice and Dice are playing this tri-lane similarly to how they played the tri-lane in the first game. I thought it was going to be a more active Spear Breaker. Well, this time he's going to the mid lane, so that may help out a little bit, but he's going to cancel the charge.
Look at Mickey, by the way, in his farm. 32-17 compared to a 15-5 Invoker. Is that expected?
Yeah, TA pretty handedly wins this matchup most of the time. The other disadvantage that Alucard will not be able to easily get points in Wex, and so Ghostwalk was not available for that gank attempt, and you need all the damage you can get in this situation, and so it's pretty typical for a TA to win it, and especially after they get that kill on Invoker, as well as Dazzle is going really low with this dive. Sunstrike?
Oh, he went right back into it. Obviously, you cannot know where it's coming from, but they do kill Chaos Knight in return, so you know what? They're just fine with that trade. As the charge out
there's a stun. No.
Oh wait. He charged a creep actually.
Yeah. Okay.
But Garter cannot really do it. He chose not to do anything. He had a Wraithfire Blast, but figured it was not worth it.
Now mid lane.
Oh,
they want to go in.
You double damage.
She has a DD rune.
Yeah, that's big. Look at the melt there on Invoker. Wow, that life just disappeared. And in the middle lane, we have Cheshire Cat right here. He's collapsing in onto Karate Kid. Spearbreaker going to charge into the background, but Karate Kid limping away on axe. The double edge going to finish the job. And those side blades with that double damage. Or the chase is not enough damage. Come with me, though. He wants to chase, and the trap actually slowed him down a little bit. He's trying to go for the TP. Yes, it will be successful. Not enough cooldown ready for the nuke right there to finish him. So at least Spearbreaker escapes. But they get the kill on Act and Invoker. Just fine for Prodota there.
Yeah, this is what I'm concerned about. This TA getting a good start like this is going to be a big concern for Slice and Dice. And Centaur rotating in made a really big difference. Originally, it just started out as an Invoker kill, but Centaur came in, was able to get the stomp on Axe, was able to progress it. Now in the top lane, Skywrath, almost dead for sure with that heal bomb.
Yeah, sets up the perfect Shadow Wave combo, really. And that's actually a decent combo in itself. You don't really maybe think about that too much, but the lift into a Shadow Wave heal from Dazzle, put him in the appropriate position, could definitely deal plenty of damage. So good coordination there. Easy kill onto the Skywrath. I mean, this top lane, it has been going back and forth, but especially after that kill now with Chaos Knight dying just before that, it does seem like Prodota, yeah, is starting to come online quite a bit. You mentioned the Centaur's impact, and he's roaming again. That ultimate's up in 3 seconds. He's going to pick up the bounty rune right here. But he might head mid if maybe sees the Invoker. Invoker's playing it safe, though. You look at Invoker just farming the jungle up a little bit.
Oh, Rubik has Chaos Bolt stolen.
Okay, that could come into play. Oh, okay, she used it right there, actually. As their Reality Rift pulls him right back in, but the Shallow Grave going to save him for now. Buying some time. He's going to go for the TP. Will it be successful? Yes, it will. He gets out. And guess who's here? It's Mickey, the double kill.
Hasted Mickey.
Let's
go for a triple.
Oh, let's make it a triple. One more auto attack should do it. There we go. Let's get that
baby, a triple.
Hat-trick coming out. Classic.
And doesn't even miss that much. He's going to come back right to the mid lane. Barely even misses a wave. Really smart rotation coming out from Mickey.
Yeah. 4,200 net worth for him now. That Blink Dagger coming along. And I also wanted to mention that Cheshire Cat here on Centaur. He's going straight into the Blink Dagger as well, you know. Again, he obviously has a Tranquil Boots, but I've talked about this before, the idea of like a Hooded Defiance being good, but you like the going straight into the Blink here?
Yeah, this game, the only magic damage that you really need to be concerned about is coming from Skywrath, and that's not something that you need to sweat about, especially in the early phases of the game. It's much more valuable to be able to blink onto these targets, especially if you can synchronize it with TA's blink. So he just now completed the blink on the Centaur. TA should have her blink in around like a minute and a half.
Yeah. Hand of Midas is getting close for Invoker, so of course that's his amp tool that Alucard attempting to finish here. And they're also jungling kind of together. Chaos Knight and the Skywrath working together here in the jungle. He's trying to finish that Helm with a Dominator, as we were mentioning, onto the Chaos Knight here, which will be impactful. But Wraith King, he has an Armlet in the works, and go up with those power treads.
Blink debut on the mid lane.
There's that hoof stomp, the double edge, and he steals, steals a Force Spirit, actually, before he gets the kill right there. And he'll spawn and he'll push out the lane. But yeah, the Blink debut, that's probably the prime target, keeping the lockdown on Invoker.
Yeah, this is a very, very sad Invoker, and this Centaur has gotten such an amazing start right now. Didn't even need to use the telekinesis on the Rubik. It was just that double edge and the hoof stomp that did more than enough damage to finish off this Invoker. TA wasn't even there. She was off farming, and she does have her Blink Dagger completed. It's coming in on the Courier, and
yeah,
this means that the map is going to get that much more dangerous for the Radiant team right now. Even though they have pretty tanky heroes, the CK, this Axe, the Spear Breaker, they're not typically squishy supports that'll get blown up by, you know, the opening Blink Daggers. But when you got a TA with 3 points in Meld, she's level 11 right now.
Yeah.
You've got a Centaur who's level 10 right now. Everyone can get it.
We're kind of going over Slice and Dice, and clearly an aggressive team from the previous matchup as we saw, and they did that very well. But yeah, Prodota also showing that they can not only match that, but definitely do it even one step further, it feels like, with their aggressive play themselves. And really kind of clicking together as a team early on. Now, kind of focusing back on Slice and Dice. I mean, again, the positives, the Helm of the Dominator for Chaos Knight, I believe it is being delivered. So yeah, it's coming out right here. Hand of Midas recipe is on the Courier as well for Invoker. So they do have some key items, but can they really else actually hold the top? Because Axe is going to be going in with the Berserker's Call. They want this kill on the team, but a lot easier said than done, especially when he has support nearby. Centaur's going to walk it off. Now TA has that refraction up. Another one actually just going to use the meld right there, go for the turn call to Spirit Breaker, and now Karate Kid on Axe. Berserker's Call bulking up in the face, almost like a taunt, but he just falls shortly after. So, I mean, that was a very ambitious attempt right there onto the TA.
I guess the idea was, since Stampede is down, then maybe we have a small advantage, but Insania coming in on the Dazzle with this maxed out Shadow Wave just gave too much sustain, and I guess Axe didn't get the luckiest of spins, and it didn't work out. And not only do they lose that tier 1, but they're going to lose Roche as well, and I mean, they should give it to Mike, but I guess Garter's helping out with the Vampiric Aura. Oh, but they want to contest.
Yeah, that seems so risky, though, exactly because of this lead that they have, but they definitely are going to try.
They can do it.
Well, they're going to go for it. Garter is getting low. He has Reincarnate, of course. Roshan, plenty of life, so they're not going to get it themselves right now, but they are going to prevent them.
They don't have nearly enough damage to take it, especially because Jafar's illusions can't do anything to Roche.
Yeah.
So now Centaur's back.
Centaur's like, all right, we want to go in. Stampede, he gets silenced right off the bat, but Skyrath's going to die. Reality Rift in the background. They get the pull in onto Rubik, and they get the kill. There's the Colding Blade to finish off the Wraith King, but guess what? He has that Reincarnate. He's right back up. The buyback as well from Rubik, a very early one at that. Jafar still standing in the front grounds right here. The Chaos Ball still unknown. He's going to use it back in his face. A charge on through from the Spear Breaker, but down goes the Chaos Knight. The shallow grave onto the Wraith King just in case. Not even necessary. There's a double kill, and just as we kind of expected, it was a very, again, ambitious attempt right there. And they also did all that without Invoker outside of a Sunstrike. I mean, it just didn't seem like the correct choice.
Yeah, it was a bit overzealous, but they had the right idea of contesting Roche, but they shouldn't have gone into the pit. They should have just kept a few heroes around, made sure that TA can't go back in and solo it. But them committing to a team fight was unnecessary, especially like you said, without the Invoker. Which the Invoker can't really do too much in terms of team fight spells, but Alacrity on a Chaos Knight would have been a lot of bonus damage. This Invoker is, you know, he's level 11, he was solo mid, he's not completely sacrificed,
Yeah.
but it is going to be a setback for Slice and Dice.
What do we got with a net worth chart upwards of 6,000 right now? You got about a 6,000 experience lead on top of that. Wraith King, again, the armlet, yeah, not even being finished. Yeah, that's just something else to worry about. Where does he go after the armlet? Is he maybe a Blink Dagger himself, or what here, you think?
I don't think it's necessary this game. He can if he wants, especially since they have such a good lead, but with Centaur, Stampede, Centaur, Blink, Hoofstomp, and TA having a Blink, I think Garter can kind of focus on either survivability or just more damage.
Alright, we'll see what Wraith King decides for here. I know the idea of like a Radiance Wraith King, but I think that's more of like the jungle, right? So like a pub stomp.
Yeah, it's more of a pub stomp. It's a very amusing item, and I think it's eminently viable against some team comps, like maybe even against like a TA, but yeah, not this game.
Alright. It's the arm.
So it looks like he's going to be going for Blade Mail, and then going to be going for a Blink Dagger. So it's a median build. He'll not immediately go straight for the Blink Dagger, but like I said, some more survivability, and definitely a good way to discourage this CK from just bullying you.
Yeah, I mean, you see CK, though. He's only level 8, and that has a lot to do with the trial lane, you know, sharing experience in it. So, sure, there was a lot of action back and forth, and some of it going on top, but that's the downside. Now he's kind of under-leveled, and they're trying to make up for that by pushing this top lane, but look at Cheshire Cat. He's sitting here ready to go with the Hoof Stomp, Blink Dagger. Are they going to really try to defend this, though? I mean, you figure they are with him being here. Obviously, he's not being seen. They're scouting things out. Invoker in the background. He's going to be jump first, though. He's going to be quickly killed. Oh, no, now without him. Spirit Breaker charging in. Now he's by himself isolated. He's going to go for the quick TP. That ain't going to work, though.
Oh, nice charge steal. They didn't have any stuns, but that was enough.
It. Well, you're right, yeah. I thought it was a Hoof Stomp, but yeah, you're right. That was still on cooldown. Very well played
by Come With Me. And man, Centaur was just like barely out of vision. You see this Radiant Ward straddling in between the vision of the tower, and Centaur was just in this little nook to the left of it. As now mid lane, Karate Kid getting killed.
Getting isolated, really. And again, you got to really wonder if they're on the other side of the river by themselves like that. Like, what are they even doing in the first place? So. Just finding themselves in some odd spots sometimes, and Prodota GaminG is just completely capitalizing. 21-5 lead. You have the Hood of Defiance now, Centaur, so of course mitigating some damage. You're right about the magical lack of magical damage maybe on the other side, but to be fair, I did got to credit to Chad on this one. The double edge being magic itself, I guess that does allow for more spammability of it as well. So there is an aspect there as well for why he would get it here. Here comes the group up, though. And again, what does Slice and Dice have up their sleeve to... I feel like they shouldn't even defend this, right? Yeah.
No, they don't have anything right now. They needed this Invoker to get larger, and he's working on his Ag. He's about 1,500 gold away from it, so that'll help, assuming he doesn't get picked off by this Centaur.
Come and get it.
Well, he is going to move away just in time. He saw it was creeping on up, but going to make his way out of there. That Ags, it's coming along. It's just over 1,000 gold before he will have it now. So obviously that's something to have a little bit of a smile about if you're Slice and Dice here. Then you look at Chaos Knight, and then the frown comes back, unfortunately.
Yeah, he's working on this armlet. It's I don't really know what the trend is on CK, if you go for the armlet first or you go for the helm first. Personally, I think the armlet is better because your illusions benefit from it, especially if you take Phantasm early on, which these days pretty much everyone takes Phantasm at 6 anyway, but yeah. I think the armlet provides a little bit more utility than the helm.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
Well, either or, I don't know if that would have really made a big difference, to be fair.
Yeah.
But, yeah, perhaps something to look at for future. But the secondary tower going down right there, and again, he's going to farm out and push it out a little bit more, but try to get that armlet at least finished. But yeah, obviously a lot of damage already done by Prodota. The bottom tower is the reclaim on the Aegis at least. That's right, they had that the whole time, but not necessarily coming into play as far as being used. But TA level 14, that means almost level 15, go figure. And oh, what does it go here? The 12% evasion or the 6 total stats? Probably the evasion, right?
Oh yeah, I would definitely go evasion. Against a CK, against a Spear Breaker, evasion's a big deal.
Got a level 14 Centaur who actually is finishing a Yules here to follow up the Hood of Defiance. Gotta say, is that really a typical Centaur item? It doesn't feel like it.
It's not typical. It has its place though, and it seems that both the TA and the Centaur are concerned about purging. So TA has a Manta style, or she had a Manta style. Now she has a BKB queued up, which I think is a better choice. But yeah, it's possible that the CK is a little bit concerned with the minus armor on Reality Rift.
Dire's top
It's
tower
minus
is
7
under
armor,
attack.
which is quite a bit, especially since the Centaur is building more magic mitigation, like we
Radiant's
said, with the
bottom
hood.
tower is under
Then
Dire's
he
top
kind of
tower
gets kind of
has
squishy
fallen.
pretty easily to physical attacks. So Yule's being able to purge it off, and obviously just help out with catching targets as well. If they blink, he can Yule's, buy time for the TA to come in, buy time for the Wraith King to come in. So it's a very
Radiant's
well-rounded
bottom tower
utility
is
item.
under attack.
Pushing a tier 3 tower at 19 minutes in. That's where we're at for Prodota Gaming. The lift on Invoker in the background. That's a quick kill onto Invoker with no buyback, and an axe also going to fall. He has a buyback, but you got to question, is it even worth it? They might just even give up not only the tier 3 tower, but these racks right here. Because with no buyback, okay, he is going to buy back, but again, unless they really defend right here, it just seems worthless to be doing so. And I don't think they're going to be able to without Invoker, so...
Yeah, PD is positioning in such a way that he can't get a good taunt on anything. Now is a pretty good opening, but Centaur's waiting in the shadows, Dazzle's waiting in the shadows. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah, so it's probably, if you had a second chance right here to make that decision, you know, maybe you wouldn't be buying back, but it is what it is already. He's bought back, so the money's been spent. And Invoker is going to be up in a couple of seconds, but they're going to go for a middle tier 3. Now, this isn't necessary for Prodota, but I assume they're going to push it at least a tower and then fall back is the idea, taking advantage of that Desolator. And there we go. So Mickey will fall back, and now they have the Shrines available to kill, of course, on top of that. Again, we are only 20 minutes into this game. And actually, Centaur's like, you know what? We're not done. The big fallback goes in on the Axe right there. Charge in the background, hits multiple heroes, but the quick kill onto Axe. And now Spirit Breaker, he's got another strike, just simply trying to live. That ain't gonna work though. Reality Rift on the Centaur of all targets, probably not the best one. Pick off in the background onto Invoker. GG, well played. It's a 20-minute dominating victory for Prodota here tonight.
Prodota was ready and waiting for this aggressive tri-lane. They were putting a lot of focus on it, and it looked like Prodota were kind of breaking even for the most part. But the advantage is that the mid lane of Prodota was doing great. This TA was getting an amazing start. The off lane of Prodota was doing great. The Centaur got such an early Blink Dagger. If you put such a focus on one lane, the rest of the balance is going to shift in favor of Prodota, and they take game 1.
Again, taking care of business pretty quickly right there. We had more of a lobby setup time than we did of actual gameplay right there in that case. But it is game 1 of a best of 3, guys. So obviously we're in that stage once again, a semifinal matchup. So best of 3. So Slice and Dice has a chance to come back in game number 2 and see where we go from there. But obviously with how that first game looked, you got to figure Prodota setting up to be in a prime spot to make the finals here, and then one step away, if they happen to do that, of claiming a spot in the regionals. But stay tuned, guys. We're going to wait for the lobby to be recreated here. Should be very quick this time around. Shouldn't be issues, hopefully, and should be getting right back into it. So stay tuned, guys. I'm Breaking CBK, joined by Tsunami. Once again, you're tuning in to the Beyond the Summit coverage of the Kiev Major Open Qualifiers European region. Game number 2 coming up next.